Hello, this is J8X STUFF. I'm Bob J8X, and this is video number 3 in my series of gameplay footage. Well, what I'm doing today is I'm recording the game display from 2 games simultaneously to OBS, the program OBS. And I'm having a little trouble with it. I don't know exactly if it's designed for 2 separate computers, and recording that to OBS and switching between the 2. See, I have this one here, and I have my other one, which is on a laptop. And this, if you can see this, that little fuzzy compared to what's on the original screen, because I had to knock it down to 720p. So basically, that's one of the things we're working on, and this is a recording test. I had trouble getting first of all, I could do one display at 1080p, which this one here that you see on screen, it's an AMD 2700X with a Vegas 64 video card. This one seems to work okay. The computer I have, OBS, that I'm running OBS on, recording the video streams, is my honkin' whiz-bang one. I mean, the other one, the 2700X, is good. It's really good. The OBS one is, it's my AMD 3800X with a RTX 2070 video card in it, 32 gigs of RAM, and all of this stuff, and it's really fast, and it's and there's these little quirks about doing the graphics, recording the graphics and streaming the graphics. These little quirks I'm finding out, like the laptop. I tried this on each computer. I'm running 3 computers here trying to do this, and there's like the laptop won't display its graphics when you're doing OBS on it. These little quirks about, and I don't think it's really designed for that anyways. If you stream, if you do game capture, if you know OBS and you're watching this, if you do game capture on the same computer that you have the game, it doesn't really work out because the mouse control or whatever, the graphics won't show up in OBS from when you're running a game, you're trying to record the game on that computer, blah blah blah, in OBS. But there's these little quirks, like I said, my laptop won't display it, game footage on the same computer. So what you do, what a lot of people are doing, which is a really cool thing, is they stream using a plugin called NDI, which is made by Newtek. Once again, if you're watching this video and you know all about that, that's awesome. But if you don't, you're new to this, and maybe that's kind of like what this is about. If you're new to this, NDI, the plugin, yeah, it's free, made by Newtek, which there's a big history with Newtek for me and a lot of other people. But yeah, they give away this free plugin that you can use with various programs, and one of them is OBS, the video recording streaming program. More or less like a TV studio, a free TV studio. That's where we've come from. It all is a big circle with Newtek. That's why I say I have a experience with Newtek, and I'll get to that in a second. But it's just that yeah, Newtek is giving away a plugin that you can use in OBS software recording streaming, like I said, that you get for free. It's just, I am speechless because this is where it ties in with the history. Newtek used to make 30 years ago something called a video toaster. It was one of the first home or amateur or semi-pro video editing pieces of hardware and software. Before that, they were thousands and thousands of dollars. You know, Newtek sold this, obviously, just for a few $1,000s, and that's when the homegrown small TV station formats were taking off, and it was perfect timing. Anyways, they still sold this, but as things have changed and now everything's digital and high def and stuff like that, it's just watching the market and the technology change to now where they give away this piece of software plugin. It blows my mind, like I said. And to record to another piece of software that's given away free, more or less. And there's other things you can do with it that isn't, or but it's not OBS is not a disabled, half disabled piece of software. And I'm not to, I just want to talk about that, and I probably will throughout this little demonstration. And if you are watching this going, when are you going to do something with this game, not just talk about all this stuff, especially if the people out there already know about this, but it's just maybe you don't know about this, or how people do this, and they just think they just record something on their screen. But they nowadays you have all the fancy, like a TV studio, the fancy graphics and stuff like that, on a single computer or whatever. But there's these little tricks that you do, when people are recording games or stuff like that, their gameplay footage. I mean, it's built into a lot of the video cards, the ability to record your gameplay footage. But if you want to, have a little, video capture screen like me, at the same time, and explain what you're doing and how your game is so cool, man. The game's cool. If you want to do that, this is the kind of thing that you do, and that leads me to reiterate, talk about, if you've seen my video, my first two videos, I talk about how I make a level. I've made a lot of levels, but this level here is my homage to Tali Abu Daher, which the original was in the DC extended mod for Battlefield 1942 or Desert Combat, whatever. So I wanted to make it in my, my version of it in the Battlefield 2 engine, and this is what I did. And in the other two videos, I showed some footage of playing my version, but it was just, I just created a multiplayer game, and it just flew around, showed some stuff. This one, the two computers that I'm using to play the game, it's like a real multiplayer, just with two guys, just so you wouldn't have that little thing across the screen waiting for players to whatever connect to start the game. So to get rid of that and to show you some stuff like, capping the flags. Yeah, that's some gamer lingo right there, that the kids today use. All right, so yeah, finally, okay, so I'm going to take this chopper up. Now the other thing about this, I'm misfire in here. There's a bit of a delay. Oh Jesus, I'm going to crash this because of that. I may have to switch. Wow, my timing is way off because there's a bit of a delay. I think I'm going to crash it. Yep. there's a delay. And what I'll do is I'm going to go into it. I'm actually going to switch my display to the actual computer that I'm playing on. So there isn't a delay. Okay, so we go back in. Yeah. Well, my chopper came back real quick. So I'm going to try that again. That delay really messes you up, boy. Sometimes it hasn't been so bad, but once I got into that wobble back and forth, I guess there was no getting out of it. Okay, so this is the U.S. base, and so I'm just saying, like, once again, you know, this is the U.S. base, mostly because I showed the video of this, my video of this, but yeah, if you didn't watch those two, this guy, the one that I have used a joystick on so I can fly these aircraft, is on the U.S. base side, and I'm going to switch over to the other one in a while. Fly over, and I cap this flag. If I can do this without. All right, so. Right. All right, so first base, and so this will also show, once you get a flag, all the vehicles that, you know, show up, pop in, whatever you want to call it. So it just shows a little bit more. We're just showing a little bit more of what happens when you actually play my level. And when I'm doing this, I'm going to talk about it and, you know, share some more anecdotes of my experience with this. There's going to be some more. There's going to be more videos to come for other things. But this one, oh, there's that song. If you don't know if you can hear it. Faint. There are other games that or whatever stuff I've done that I want to put on YouTube. But this one I wanted to show some more about it. Some of the cool stuff, because I just, yeah, in the other videos I was talking about how I made it and which is cool. But I didn't really show how the game was played. You know, there are little things that I added to this one. That's when you're making a new map, you get to do that. I mean, I basically created a map that was very similar to, you know, obviously very similar to the original one. I wanted to keep it similar, as, like I said, as my homage. You know, because, well, first of all, there's only so much you can replicate because you're creating you're using new things, all these buildings and stuff like that. They're immensely different than what was in the original level because it was two different games, you know, Battlefield 1942 and the mod, you know, now it's Battlefield 2. So I use, you know, all of the buildings are from basic Battlefield 2 and the mod DCONX. So I use those assets from the game, and I talk about that in the original 2. Now this is one thing I come up with. Just threw together some parts, you know, like wall, brick and stone parts. It's a nice little hideout. If you're a sniper, you can see if a person is standing on that building. You can pick them up. That's the okay, that's the gaming distance. We can talk about that. Now I pulled back the fog so you could see farther or further before the fog sets in other words, to have a greater distance. And I was actually, and I was reminded of this. I'm being reminded of a lot of things that I you know, it's been coming back to me as I have been getting back into this and playing this. I was complaining about the terrain morphing as you get closer to it, and it's kind of annoying. They do that because they redraw it and blah blah blah, you know, for the graphics. But the reason, you know, that's the reason for the fog, and I pulled back a lot of the fog. Now you can see a lot of that, so it's more or less my own fault. You know, if you have a greater draw distance, you know, to see, you're going to see more of the, you know, that's how they hide whatever the, you know, the game engine limitations. It's, you know, this is 2005, and the computers back then was a little tougher to handle them, and these computers that I'm using now, it's like butter. It's absolutely, you know, flawless as far as, you know, you can play the game so maxed out, the graphics, everything completely maxed out. You can even go beyond that if you tweak and tune within the, say, the graphics adapter, you know, software, the NVIDIA control panel. You can go beyond what you see as far as the filtering to make the graphics better, the anisotropic filtering, you know, so you can even go beyond what was originally there, and it's just you can't slow it down. So now I was reminded of that. Another thing I was reminded of, yeah, as I talk about this. As I talk about this, all right, now so I'm going to grab a vehicle. Oh, I'll grab this truck here, and I don't know, are there explosives in the back? Some of the things that I get reminded about. No, I don't think so. And I never knew about this truck. Never actually got into this truck, you know, until recently to drive it. I put it in the level because it was cool or whatever. But I didn't know they had that little jingle, whatever that is. It's a music box. What is that? Somebody was having some fun, which is cool. Alright, so I wanted to actually take this. This is something that DCONX put it on. I'm thinking, I don't know if BF2 put this in there. This is not a very robust hot rod car. It actually brakes quite easily when you drive it, which is kind of weird. So I just wanted to show that. But what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to get into this, and I'm going to go to the next flag here. I love this dune buggy, whatever it is. So this is the park this here. I don't know what vehicles come out here. Alright, so I got these two bases, and I'm going to actually switch to the other guy, and he's going to take a few things. Let's get out of that there. Hopefully it doesn't explode. Is there a proximity? Oh, no, never mind. I'll just go over here. I'll wait over here. Alright, I'm going to switch monitors so I can switch OBS to the other guy, which the video is not quite as good. So yeah, so this is the I'm on top of the mountain flag for the other guy, to take that one. Seemed like an easier one to do. All right. Now there's a chopper there, but I don't have a joystick on this computer. I don't think I'm going to use the chopper. I'll use another one of these. There's a bit of a lag. I'm on my computer, the laptop actually, and there's obviously a bit of lag from that to when it gets to OBS. And I believe I was talking about it. The graphics you see, this was 720p, a little fuzzy. You know, it's just fine. It's fine. It doesn't look like that on my screen. And the graphics gets pretty close if you're recording 1080p. And you're streaming one computer. It looks really good and not so much lag, I think, because of the two computer screens simultaneously being streamed in with the NDI plugin, like I was talking about it before. Yeah, the NDI plugin. So there's probably going to be some lag. I've been looking into it, how it works out, you know, how it works for anybody that does that, records game footage or whatever. And I haven't really found anything, unless there is something out there. I haven't really found anything that talks about two computers streaming simultaneously into OBS, you know, to record gameplay footage with two computers screens. Maybe there is, like I said, but I think it's a little different. Now you can share your display into OBS from another computer, like a browser, you know, from multiple computers. I think that's a little different. There are things like because of the latency and the graphics, you know, the 3D game graphics type of deal. It's a little different and a little harder to get working. And I did, yeah, like I did look out there at YouTube and stuff like that, and I did find some things, you know, about, yeah, you might have to knock it down to 720p to be able to record you know, two simultaneously. All right, so I'm gonna go to this next flag here, and just to cap it and go back. Or do I want to? No, let's go past that. That's another thing. I should have made that a roundabout. It's basically like a Y, you know. I should have made that into a roundabout. That's something I might have to think about. Yeah, you see the bridge there. If I can go back to that, and little things like that that you learn, you know, when you either shadowing or, you know, how you do the train. There's little things like that that you have to deal with and try to figure out. And I had better luck with some of the other ones. Sometimes you just don't notice it in the editor. You know, you'll notice it. You won't notice it until you actually load the game up. The volume is kind of low on that I'm sending to this. Maybe oops, hit my microphone. Maybe I can turn the volume up on a little bit more. Anyways, all right. So I'm going to the docks. Yeah, see this, like I was saying, the problem I had with trying to run the display or send a display at 1080p, the problem I was having is it was laggy, and it's not laggy. It just doesn't look as good, you know, which it's a trade-off, and it's what I'm learning about, and I think through tweaking, I can get it to be better, and I can probably knock it back up to 1080p. And I mean, for what I'm doing here, it's fine. Yeah. And this I actually enjoyed when I made this flag here. It replicates, you know, obviously the DC extended version of it. Not as much. They had more buildings. The guy Patrick Havens, who made that level, I talk about the other two videos because he posted a comment on YouTube, and he had a lot more buildings here and stuff. And I when I started making this, I kind of like, says, I don't know if I'm gonna have as many buildings as this is a big building. Yeah, but it's just whatever. It's the choices you make. I think in here also, let me turn up the volume of this to try to capture. Ah, yes. Some of the background noises. Oh, and I got a nice little tank out back. Does it go away? Is that? I'll turn that volume back down to. So that's just the background atmosphere sound. I started doing this, one of the last things I started to do with this level, making the shade, the shadows, and doing the background sounds and stuff like that. And it was the second video, or the first or second video. Tank, loud tank. Second video, I talk about. I took the music, a song from the DC extended version. That's the the one thing I did. I stole the MP3 OGG sound or whatever, OGG I think it was, because I liked it so much. It was so atmospheric. It was a loop song that I'm sure they didn't make it. You know. I think they found it somewhere, some looped Middle Eastern Arabic song. And also, actually, to go even further in the Wayback Machine, I'm not going to drive this tank around too long. The song actually reminds me of music I used to hear. Dad was in the Air Force, so we were stationed in different places, and for a little while we were stationed in Tripoli, Libya, and that's some of the music you would hear. And playing this game, TADII, it reminded me of that, so I wanted to have that in my level too. I'm actually going to take one of these other vehicles here. And probably just chill out here for a minute. And I did allude to the fact that one of the other levels I did make in Battlefield 2 was stationed in Tripoli, Libya at Wheelus Air Force Base. And I started to make a modern day version of what would happen. Wheelus Air Force Base was renamed to Matiga Airfield when obviously Gaddafi kicked everybody out. So it was renamed to Matiga Airfield. So I did that kind of thing. Well, another one I never finished. Well, this one isn't even finished. It's very almost complete, if that's a word. It's nearly complete, but you're never really done. Like I did all the shadows in here. I'm actually gonna switch back to the other guy. Turn that on. Yeah, you're never really done with this level. For instance, yeah, I got pretty far. But there's always something you want to change. There's always a thing you want. I'm actually going to switch to the display. I'm switching it on my monitor. It's high tech. So I want to go. Now, since I took this, I think. Oh no, I have to go the other way. Yeah. I think there's a helicopter I can grab. Yeah, you're never really done. There's little things you add here and there, and one of the things I did notice that as far as much work I did on this, I started in 2006 with the idea of doing this level. Can I get back there? Can I get back there? And I kept working on this and sporadically over a couple of years after that. I talked about am I going to be going off a level here? Going off the ranch. Where are the helicopters? Do I get the helicopters yet? Yeah, I got a helicopter. Yeah, I do. I worked on other games, making levels. I was interested in any game that you could modify and had an editor back then. So yeah, like Crisis. I work in Crisis and stuff. And what I want to get to is I took this flag here. These two flags. I'm going to try to take the second, the center flag. Yeah, so this is what I remembered why some of the, okay, here we go. Why you see the terrain reshaping itself, being annoying, is because you're not supposed to really see this much. Battlefield 2 was intended. They liked it with they liked levels with a lot of fog to hide. If you had a lot of terrain, a lot of fog to hide that, that terrain reshaping thing. Or it was, levels that didn't have a lot of fog were flat. So you didn't notice it as much. And I wanted to pull the fog level way back. The DC extended version didn't have much fog, but older game engine didn't have the problems that Battlefield 2 had. I don't know why I did that. Yeah, so I got this level here, and I think I should have grabbed a vehicle. Oh, there's a vehicle there. We can edit this out so you don't have to watch me walk to another vehicle. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm on the bridge looking at the village or whatever, encampment compound, and I'm going to switch to it's one more thing that I'm noticing. When you switch off the display of something else. It cuts the audio. I guess I should have just naturally understood that with my years of experience, but I just realized that just now. I never tested it out before. I never pay attention to it, but apparently it switches off the audio too, which is cool. All right, so one of the things I want to do is now I'm on, on this wall, and I can see, this is what I was talking about as far as, is it going to let me see? I think it's one of the things I realized when I made this level. In the original version, you could see the people, the other guys standing on the bridge, and you could pick them off if they walked across the bridge. And I don't think you can here. Is there a way I can jump up without falling to my death? If I stand up here, now I don't think I can quite make them out. That's one of the things I wanted to do here. I also wanted to talk more about the streaming using NDI to cast my displays from the other computers. Seems to be working okay. Can I see that guy on the... It hasn't crashed yet. It hasn't been as laggy. Where can I stand that? And there's a reason for this. I was talking about this before. Yeah, I don't think you can quite make out the person that's this far away. Oh, no, you can. Okay, all right. So if I took a shot... No, I missed. Clearly, obviously. Of course I did. Nah, I'm not really going to hit him. The scale and the, I more or less matched up what I could in the other level, but obviously different game engine, the way they handle draw distance or whatever, it's not going to be the same. And the guys look farther away in this than they do. I mean, it is what it is. It's not like a problem or anything. But that's, I hit the other guy. Nice shot. But it is possible to hit somebody in Battlefield 2 engine from this distance. Whereas in the Battlefield, the 1942 engine that was used in the original version, that I keep referring to, a little easier to hit people, and but that's when I was first started doing this. Obviously, I couldn't even see that far away. So you work with the fog, and it was a fun learning experience. But most of this, this is just to see if it could be done. And obviously the idea of this level isn't just to stand here and shoot each other. This was my gauge. If this seems like a bit of a tangent, this was my gauge as to how well I got draw distance. Like I said, when I first was working on this, you couldn't even see it, and I was, even pulling back the fog. There was other issues So it wasn't about I want to play this level and stand here and shoot a guy across, standing on the wall there, but it's how you gauge things. It's you know it's not just mathematical. It's got to work. Probably got a better shot at hitting somebody on that bridge. Yeah, because I mean, it's not about being a sniper either, because you could be a sniper and shoot people, but that's not what this level really is about. I mean, I would have put different stuff. Oh wow. Killed the other guy. Okay, so where am I? That's too far away. I'll go to, wow, that's a nice shot. I mean, of course I shot that far away. Now, do I want to spawn this guy? He's got more flags than the US does, the mech. It's working out pretty well recording like this. There will be some tweaking, fine tuning after this to see if I can get 1080p recorded from both screens. And I did talk about there seems to be a difference, like I can share the screens from other computers for like a browser, the web browser, or a picture, or a PowerPoint type presentation. That's easy enough. Just these graphics got a little bit more going on. I also have a bit of a lag in my microphone, more of a lag, so it's very echoey. It's just a matter of getting used to it. And I did have I think I'm going to do like the Rockstar recording studio, so I'm not just hearing my voice delayed. Yeah, it seems to be working pretty good. And to go into some stuff about, just to talk, what am I using for computers here? Do this. I did talk about this earlier. I'd say, my OBS computer has got the AMD Ryzen 3800X, which is really good. You kind of don't notice, in some aspects, you don't notice just how fast a computer can be, or a CPU can be, until you have to go to another one that isn't quite as fast. And this 3800 is, I always use the term a lot, it's like butter. And you don't quite notice it until you're not using it. This one, the OBS computer / it's my gaming computer as well. It's my main gaming computer. It's got the RTX 2070 in it, 32 gigs of RAM, and 4 sticks. Because of the RAM combinations that I bought, 3200 speed would only work with those 4 sticks. I got 2 sticks, two 16 gig sticks, would not go up to 3200. It works in it works in my 2700 computer, the one I'm actually playing this game on. It works in that okay, the 2 sticks, but I'm only running them at 29 and 33 because that's what the CPU is. And so I just run at the same timing. It just was weird. But my 4 sticks in my better computer runs at 3200. Different, whatever. It's, you don't have to go that far into Geekland, but being 3200 speed or whatever. which I mean, it's fun, but it's not necessarily the purpose of this. I am just seeing how long this will last. I mean, I will cut the video off, you know, about an hour or so, I guess. But I want to see how this works. You know, like I said, it seems to be going good. 720p displays. Got a bit of a delay on the microphone, which is the absolute. This is the. It's just the. I wanted something, a USB cheap microphone, and not to, you know, disparage. It actually is pretty good. I mean, when I say cheap, this thing, you know, I'm sure the diaphragm of it is, you know, not real big. And it's probably just a teeny little thing hidden in a big housing or whatever. But it works good. It was fine. What was it? $26 on Amazon. But it works. I mean, I wanted to start doing this now, and I just can't do a huge investment in stuff all at once. I just did the major upgrade of most of the computer stuff that I have. I have 3 computers, desktops, and 1 laptop. The other games, the other computer I'm playing the game on, the secondary one, is a laptop. It's a Sager laptop. You know, obviously I'm not a shill. I guess I have to say that or something. I'm not promoting or disparaging in them. Either way, it's a laptop I bought June of last year, 2019, because I needed one because of the move. And I wanted one that had actually pretty good graphics. So it's the Sager laptop. It's a Intel Mobile 97 something, and I don't mean to purposely sound ignorant about it, but it's the typical laptop processor sold, 6 cores, 12 threads. You know, the past couple of years. I believe it's a 9750 mobile. Maybe I got that wrong. 32 gigs of RAM, 2060, which I was looking for. It took me a while to find something that wasn't hugely expensive last year that had an RTX graphics card in it, 2060, and it's pretty good. It runs. It'll run my Oculus Rift display with it, goggles with it. Pretty good, and it plays all, you know, obviously slower with any of the RTX enabled games. Yeah, so I use that. That's my daily driver. Yeah, so I have that one. I have the OBS one, and I have the other one that I'm actually running this game on that you see is the 2700, the AMD 2700X. It's got the Vegas 64, which does a couple of things. It's obviously not as fast as the 2070, but it does a couple of things that I seem to be having trouble with on the 2070 as far as using it with OBS and displaying the graphics. It wouldn't even work with the 2070 on this computer trying to get it to show up. I did jump through a few hoops to get it to work, but the Vega seems to work better in some aspects. I don't know if it's too boring to go into, but the point is that I was surprised, and I got the thing. I'm sure the Vega 64, I got it off eBay used, and I'm sure it was used in Bitcoin mining, you know, because it was flooded with all these used video cards, since Bitcoin is not as popular as it was. So yeah, so I got that, a really good deal. And I was a little worried about the temperature. I was talking in another video about wanting to do something about the heat. I wanted to take it apart and redo the thermal paste or whatever, and you know, do stuff like that. I probably still will at some point, but what I ended up doing with that computer, or this one that we're playing this on, what I ended up doing was there's a side panel plastic, clear plastics, not tempered glass, but so I took the side plastic off, and because I had fans, you know, positive input with air. I'm finding a boat here. That's what I'm doing. That's what you're seeing. But it didn't really help because the Vega would get so warm. So I took the side panel off, and I have another fan aimed at the video card inlet with the fan. It's the kind of the original, whatever they call it, the original fan and shroud on the video card, where it's just one fan. So what I mean, that's how they first came originally. The boat. And it blows hot air from, in your case, across the fins of the heat sink. This is going to be another case of not really, because of the lag between I'm playing this game on and the OBS computer, which it's not too bad. It's not too bad, but when you're trying to stuff like trying to steer something, you notice it, or fly something. Now I know I go that way. But this is one of the things that I talked about before. I wanted the rivers to match up as much as I could, because I like this. You could sneak up on people. Okay, here's more stuff. Look at it. Okay, here we go. The terrain morphing and forming itself over which it's gonna do, you know. I think I talked about before, really working on this bridge in this area here, to try to get it to do that less, and I had more luck on the other side, and I still have to work on this side. And you notice, yes, I know there's a gap. I did know about that. There's a gap between the support column and the water. I was going to try to either raise up the terrain to meet it, or put another thing down there. But yeah, that's on the list of other stuff to remember. So yes, I'm traveling down the river here. Yes, it's a little bit laggy. So once again, the main thrust of this whole video is, some of it is to show the gameplay, what I did to this level, but it's also a test to see how this will work, like I was talking about before, and it's just to talk about how it's working with what hardware I'm using to get this done. And to go back to the Vegas 64, I'm surprised, pleasantly surprised how good it is. I haven't done much benchmarking. Obviously, it's slower than a 2070. I think it's, what is it, about as fast as a 1070? the Vega 64 is, or a little bit faster than it, but it's in the same ballpark. And a game like this, it doesn't even matter, you know, obviously, because it's 15 years old, this game, and you know, it caps out, I believe with this, everything caps out at 100 frames a second, or that's just all it's reading. I thought there was a boat back here. That's another little place I hid. Yeah, for whatever reason, either the game doesn't recognize anything faster than 100 frames a second, which is more than fine, or that's all it's reading, and it really is faster, because obviously it's like butter, you know. Yeah, all this terrain here. You always want to keep working at it and get something that that looks realistic, especially, you know, if the graphics cards, computers are faster. You want to pile on as much as you can, like this. Yeah, computers nowadays can handle this. Whereas before, you add a lot of stuff, and you know, sometimes it's too much. I think I can go. Yeah, go up here. I added a little areas that I knew you could get up. Oh, geez, I hurt myself getting off a boat. Yeah. And yeah, once again, if you know there is somebody watching this wondering, you know, you get so many videos of people, you know, playing their awesome games on multiplayer online, which is really cool. This whole thing I'm doing here is, you know, it's nostalgia. It's getting, oh, hi, default player. It's just like I was talking about before, I brought it out of mothballs. I've had a version of it loaded up most of the time on various computers. I'll load this in Battlefield 42 up. But yeah, recently got into updating some of the stuff, redoing shadows, like I talk about, adding more stuff here, here and there, just to make it more realistic, you know. Hello, I just want to interject here for a minute to give you some background, personal background. My wife and I moved here last year from New Hampshire to Germany, and we brought our 2 dogs with us, Tucker and Greta, and they make us extremely happy. I thank you for watching the video if you did. I'm going to have some more videos in the near future of stuff that I want to, you know, I want to put on YouTube or whatever. Hopefully you'll watch. I do appreciate anybody that does watch my videos. Just it's of the personal stuff that I like to do. So thank you again, and we'll see you soon. Headshot. They didn't kill him. Headshot again. There we go.